one thing to get fact-checked in the middle of a sentence, but to get fact-checked by a close ally, Fox News host Laura Ingraham, well, Trump might be circling the drain after that.
But she shouldn't be there anyway. She should be, I would say, North Carolina is bad, is so bad. And
she was there today for 3 hours, I believe, Kamala Harris.
During an interview on the Ingraham angle, Trump tried to accuse his Democratic opponent of attending fundraisers rather than spending time in North Carolina, which was devastated by flooding last week. Before Ingraham interjected, reminding Trump of those pesky facts, before moving on to a question about whether Trump was politicizing the storm, which he of course denied, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
Will you restore faith in our justice system? A lot of people will say, well, he's just going to do to them what they did to him, and get back at them. And
a lot of people say that's what should happen. Well, you want to know the truth.
Right. Well, but I think, you know, punitively using government institutions is what got us in this mess in the first place. And our town hall that we did back in February, one of the lines that really resonated, I think, with people is when you said, my revenge is going to be my success.
Yeah, well, I do believe that, but I will say this. They have started a terrible precedent. We've never had this. We do have that in third world countries, banana republics, a lot in South America where they go after somebody politically that's an opponent. We never had it to any great extent, really almost at all.
But you're not going to do that. When you get in office, you're going to look at all your political enemies.
No, I want to make this the most successful country in the world. That's what I want to do. But she shouldn't be there anyway. She should be, I would say, North Carolina is bad, is so bad. And
she was there today for 3 hours, I believe, Kamala Harris. But
the Vice President Kamala Harris was in North Carolina that day as part of the federal government's emergency management response, and in the wake of back-to-back hurricanes causing death and destruction across the country, Trump has faced heavy criticism after making countless false statements about the federal response to Hurricane Helene, with his critics accusing him of undermining the efforts of local officials, the Biden administration, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency to benefit himself politically, because that's all he cares about.
The federal government is not being responsive, but they're having a very hard time getting the president on the phone.
But Governor Brian Kemp said earlier that he did speak with President Biden yesterday after initially missing his call. As of this morning, he said that he and Vice President Harris were playing phone tag.
And have you reached out to President Biden about federal relief efforts?
No, I haven't reached out to him. No, I think he's sleeping right now, actually.
Relief. Marco Rubio didn't like something, so he said that it was fake. And the reality is, and I mentioned this yesterday on the 5, that every accusation is a confession from the Republicans. You know, the only president who actually did take funds that were supposed to go to disaster relief and move them to dealing with the border, that was Donald Trump. He took $155 million out of the FEMA budget to do that. That should have gone to hurricane relief.
A couple of things.
It doesn't matter to him that even the Republican governors of the areas hit hardest have came out and applauded the federal effort.
In reality, Congress just gave FEMA another $20 billion last week for its disaster relief fund. The Department of Homeland Security says it will need more to make it through the rest of hurricane season, but also noted that there is enough for the immediate rescue and recovery needs from this storm. Yet Trump is claiming that there isn't because, according to him, that money is already being used to deal with the flow of migrants at the southern border.
We're missing $1 billion they gave them to the migrants that came in, and now we don't have the money. We'll do it, but they don't have the money to take care of. That's why they're giving you lousy treatment in North Carolina. Kamala spent all her FEMA money, billions of dollars, on housing for illegal migrants. They stole the FEMA money just like they stole it from a bank.
They've given over $1 billion to illegal migrants that came in, and now they have no money.
That is not true. FEMA says no disaster funds were used to shelter migrants. They are two separate programs, actually, both approved and funded by Congress. But you know which president did do that? The 45th. Back in 2019, when Trump was still in office, his administration pulled $155 million from disaster relief funds to pay for migrant holding facilities. That means that when Trump was president, he did exactly what he is accusing Biden of doing, taking cash from disaster funds to pay for migrant programs at the southern border. Now, all of this is coming after Trump accused the administration of also going out of its way to not help Republican areas, a notion that was debunked by Republican governors.
I'm incredibly appreciative of the rapid response and the cooperation from the federal team at FEMA.
There's 100% federal money flowing in.
We're getting assistance, and we're asking for everything we need.
His latest lies come amidst a week to forget for the Trump camp. I mean, he was humiliated on the opening segment of 60 Minutes.
Donald Trump is afraid of debating Kamala Harris again, and he's afraid of 60 Minutes. And that could be because he simply does not have the mental capacity to survive a 60 Minutes interview now. That question was raised in the New York Times reporting about Donald Trump's apparent cognitive decline that has been on display publicly, which includes Donald Trump claiming to have run for president against Barack Obama, which never happened, and mixing up names of countries, including confusing Iran and North Korea, along with outbursts of incoherent rage. It could be that the campaign staff decided that a Trump appearance on 60 Minutes would be not survivable at this point in what they perceive to be Donald Trump's cognitive decline. Vice President Harris, of course, delivered her commitment to join the special edition of 60 Minutes for an interview. She delivered on her commitment to join 60 Minutes for an interview.
And blatantly laughed at by a podcast host during an appearance.
Dwight Eisenhower was sort of a moderate, General Eisenhower. Did you know that they had 8% generals, president of the United States, 8% were generals, 92% were politicians, and then you had Trump. See, that's a weave. You know, we go off into
I like that. Because now I'm like, where are we weaving to? I'm into this.
No, think of it, because we're talking about generals, and then you get back onto the general. I have a hard time doing it to them because I'm basically a truthful person. But and frankly,
TV respects me. It laughs with me, not at me.
You stupid.
See, that's a wave.
I guess that's one way to describe how he goes seamlessly from late, great Hannibal Lecter to cancer-causing windmills.
What about Mike Pence? You got anything for Mike Pence?
Well, it's a shame because he and I had a very good relationship.
Hanging out somewhere.
He couldn't cross the line of doing what was right, in my opinion. Some people would disagree with that, but he had the right to go.
Which, by the way, comes after Trump HQ attacked Kamala Harris for doing a podcast appearance.
I do want to clarify something. In the debate, former President Trump claimed that some states are executing babies after birth. Can you just clarify?
That is not happening anywhere in the United States. It is not happening, and it's a lie. It's a bold-faced lie that he is suggesting that. Can you imagine? He is suggesting that women in their 9th month of pregnancy are electing to have an abortion. Are you kidding? That is so outrageously inaccurate, and it's so insulting to suggest that that would be happening and that women would be doing that. It's not happening anywhere. This guy is full of lies. I mean, I just have to be very candid with you. You know, so in my career, from the time I got out of law school through most of my career as a prosecutor, I understood that the words that I spoke and what I did with those words would be the difference between whether somebody was charged with a crime or went to prison, maybe prison for life. When I was Attorney General, I was the top law enforcement officer of the biggest state in this country. And I was acutely aware that the words I spoke could be the difference between whether a corporation was in business or out of business, that the words I spoke could move markets. The idea that someone is not only so careless and irresponsible and reckless, but out and out lies to create fear and division in our country and thinks he should be president of the United States standing behind the seal of the president of the United States using the microphone that comes with that, and using that voice and those words in such an irresponsible, and that's mild, way. And this is why this election matters.
But I doubt even in his wildest fascist dreams would he have envisioned Fox News fact-checking him in real time.
Jessica, how do you see it?
Dramatically differently from how my colleagues see it. So just a couple notes. Trump closes strong in Georgia. He lost Georgia. So I guess if someone had found him 11,237 votes, it would have gone better, but he's a loser there.
I meant by campaign activity.
Oh, he shows up a lot and people see him and then they vote against him. Starlink, there are 40 satellites that are already going. In Maui, by the way, the $700 was the FEMA limit. So Donald Trump and his supporters are running the same old tired playbook that they did with Maui and they did with East Palestine. So not only was Joe Biden on top of this, he signed the disaster declarations even before the storms hit to make sure that there would be no delay in goods and services. Donald Trump's social media posts contain blatant lies, like Governor Kemp can't reach the president. Governor Kemp gave a press conference yesterday where he said, I just spoke to the president. He has promised me every single thing that I need. McMaster from South Carolina, also a conservative, getting everything that he wants, and then Roy Cooper as well. And there's only one president that we are talking about who actually has denied relief for one of these states. In 2017, Roy Cooper asked after Hurricane Matthew for a lot of money, and he got 1% of his ask. They denied 99% of what he was asking for after that hurricane came. There are 3,300 FEMA personnel there, 5,500 National Guardsmen from 11 states, and search and rescue from 19 states. That doesn't reduce the devastation of this and how horrific it is, but to say that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are out to lunch during this, or they're sitting on a beach reclining there, they are clearly giving them what they need. They will be showing up when it is appropriate. And it's different for Donald Trump, who is not in office. He's just a guy trying to be president again to show up and throw some bounty at people versus someone who's actually the commander in chief and doesn't want to distract from what's going on. And as Dana said, Governor Cooper said, I will let you know when it is appropriate for you to come. And same goes for Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, all of it.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.